Okay, so just to back up, because this is a recording, I've done my graphite drawing of the photo from the street in Spello, and it's a basic drawing with just the structure of the buildings primarily, and some indication of where the flowers are. But what I want to do now is to come back in now with a pen. I'm using a 5, it's the Micron 05, and I'm going to just start sketching some of the main details. But remember what the one person said, try to make it an interesting line, not just architectural drawing. So that means not just one line sometimes, you know, you can be a little bit creative with letting it be a little bit of a loose line and doesn't have to be precise. Look at the shapes of some of the vegetation and just indicate the shapes that you see. A lot of organic shapes here, which is kind of nice because you can just remember we're going to be adding color. So as long as you get an indication of where things are, you can come back in with the color, and then you can also come back in again to define some of the shapes with your pen after you do some more watercolor. Okay, so let's see okay, so let's go over to the other side now and start to define some of the shapes here. Okay, these flowers in the foreground on the left side are not very pretty, so I'm going to add more flowers. Now remember that some of the flowers as they're farther away are smaller, so this is where you change the size of scale of things that are a little farther away. In fact, you can even start using a thinner pen. So here's a smaller one. It's a 2. It has 0.02 for some of my lines further back. I haven't used this one. It's a little dry. And it's brand new too. Okay, this pen is just a little too dry. I'm going to have to maybe take it back to the Ojai art store and say this one was dried out because I didn't get it that long ago. I'm going to come back in now. Well, first a few more details of flowers, but then I'm going to come back in with my brush pen and start to add a little bit of a darker value to some of the areas, that a wider line. Okay, so with my brush pen, I'm going to look for places where it's darker, like right up in here where the shadow of the doorway. I'm going to go ahead and make that a little bit of a heavier line and with a thinner line here, but some of the places that are closer to me, I want to try to emphasize, and I'm looking for places where there's shading or shadow underneath some of the foliage and plants. I'm going to go ahead and make a darker line in some of those places. Okay, I think I'm ready to start painting, and then I can always come back in later with a little bit more ink if I need to. Any questions so far?
It looks wonderful.
Well, all I can say is it's fun. It's really fun to just be doing a little bit of a sketch instead of what you're thinking of as a big painting. Okay, so I have graphite that I put in the wrong place, so I'm just going to try to pick some of that up. Not that it will really matter because it's a sketch, but I'm using a kneaded eraser, which is not as abrasive. And I'm going in the places where I see that I went a little bit in a different line, because,
Sylvia,
yes,
I did have one question. I couldn't get myself unmuted.
okay,
Um, I noticed that you did not do anything with the block on the street. Are you going to add that later? Or are you going to do that in watercolor? What's like?
I'm going to do it first with watercolor and then come back in, I think, later, because I am not quite sure how strongly I want that to be emphasized. And I thought that, I would just go ahead and do kind of work back and forth. I've got the major things in there that I want, and then I'll decide how much detail I want on that part. That makes sense?
Yes, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. So sometimes when you're drawing, your hand will smear a little bit of the graphite. So that's also something I'm looking at, is where are some of, I did drag my hand over some things a little bit, so I'm trying to get rid of some of that graphite smear. Okay, so I think I'll start with kind of a wash. Remember, with watercolor, you want to work from light to dark. So I'm going to start with some of the color of the walls. And it's actually, I'm going to use a flat brush for that because, and I'm not going to worry too much about bleeding. If I bleed some into another part of the painting, I'm not going to worry because I don't want to make it super wet because I don't want it to bleed beyond under my tape. But I'm going to dampen some of this. Oops, there's some color in that brush. I'm usually pretty good about cleaning color out of a brush, but looks like this time I didn't. Use a different one. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of a yellow ochre color here, but really thin down. And I want it to be a little stronger color in the foreground. I'm going to add just a little bit of a pinkish tone in there too, because even though I don't really see it there, I think one of the things that's beautiful about these buildings is the fact that, they take on different colors as they get older, and they're really, that's one of the things I love about Italy, is all the color. Don't be afraid to leave some white. You don't need to fill every single thing in. And while it's, I'm going to go around the edge where the tape is and kind of dry off some of the edge where it's beaded up, where the water's beaded up, so that it won't flow back into the, underneath into the painting itself. Let's see. I think I will put in just a little bit of a wash of kind of a blue tone, because I want a cool ground for along the pavement or the stones. The color is a little more green in the video that I'm looking at. I've got more of a cobalt blue on my actual painting. And while it's wet, I'm going to come back in and just put a little bit of a gray tone. Okay, so I'm mixing a little bit of opera with my yellow ochre for some of the color of these pots on the side. And I think I have a color that's maybe it's something like Indian red, but it's or you can use a burnt sienna too for some of these pots. I'm going to start with a brighter yellow, something that's I don't know for sure what yellow this is in my palette, but it's a really clean yellow I'm going to add to the flowers up here. It's actually not looking as bright as I'd hoped it would. Let's see here. And while I have the yellow on my brush, I'm going to use a little green, sap green to it. Okay, now I've got I think it's a cadmium red. I'm going to vary the reds so that they're not all the same. So you want to try to get a look of a few different reds in your painting so it doesn't all look like it's just, you know, the repeated color everywhere. I think And I'm using more of a pink over here on this side.
Sylvia, are you still recording?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Doesn't it show that it's recording? I don't see where it says it's recording. Let's see.
It says it's recording on my laptop upper
It
left.
is.
It is still
Up at the
recording.
top.
Recording.
Okay, good. Usually it shows that on my screen, but I don't see it.
Up in the corner on my screen.
Okay. Okay, so I feel like I need to come back in now and start putting in some of the cooler colors and well, actually just kind of balance things out a little bit. I'm going to throw in some manganese blue back here on these windows. And I'm going to drag some of that into down here into the walkway also. And start working on some of the greens.
Sylvia, this style of painting is more like your illustration in that landscape book than what you've been doing every week. Am I right about that?
Oh, you mean what we're doing this week? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I decided that I should do that, you know, just because this is a good way for a lot of people who haven't done watercolor before to start.
Mhm. Does everybody know you have a picture in that book that you've recommended?
Oh, maybe not. Of course, that's why I recommended it, you know. Not really. It's just that my friend Virginia is such a great urban sketcher, and then she invited me to share some of my work. So I was really thrilled to do that.
I really like that book. I've looked back at it several times.
Yeah, I think she did a good job. I'm leaving the white of the paper in places because those of you who know how I like to paint, I like to leave the white of the paper because I think it helps to give it a little bit more life. So what I'm doing now is I'm adding a little bit more blue to my greens so that as I paint plants farther away, they're cooler. They're not as bright a green. That's what happens with atmospheric perspective. Let me mute everybody here. We've got some music going. Oops. Remember, the same goes for the pots that are closer to you. The pots that are closer to you are going to be a warmer orangey red, and the ones farther away are going to be a bluer, cooler brown. I guess I better hurry up if I'm going to do more than one painting, huh? Oh, something's... Wait, stop this. I can't see the video. Just a second. Okay, the main thing now is to come back in and start adding some darker darks in places, like where you see, like in the doorways, places like that, where you want to have some contrast. It's showing lighter on the screen than it is on my painting. I'm going to darken it just a little bit here because it needs to be a little bit more contrast. So I'm doing a little indication of the stones on the street.
Sylvia, which colors do you use for gray?
For gray, I usually use ultramarine blue and burnt sienna.
Thank you.
Hmm. Okay, I feel like I need to add a little bit more color to the walls because it looks a little washed out. So I'm going to come back in with another little bit of a brighter color in the foreground. This will help give it more depth.
Sylvia, what color are you adding at this point?
It's a little bit of a mixture of opera and let's see, probably I'm not sure what yellow it is. It's a little bit of an opaque yellow, so it's kind of an orangey yellow.
Great, thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay, I need to get a little darker over on this side because I've sort of neglected this left side. I need a few little spots of darkness.
Sylvia,
Yes? Do you have a question?
Oh, the speaker. Speaker might have. The speaker died.
Sylvia, what color is that you're doing the darks with?
Oh, I think it was combination of sap green and ultramarine blue, and maybe a little bit of burnt sienna in it, just so it wouldn't be quite as bright. Now what I want to do is let it get a little bit dry and then come back in and do some more pen work. But that might take a while, so maybe I should just start on the other one. I don't feel like I'm really finished with this. It feels to me like it needs darker values.
Do you ever use a blow dryer on your paintings?
I haven't been, but it would probably be a good idea. No, I'm not in the habit because I usually don't paint in a studio. I usually am outdoors. But, you know, that would be a way to get it to dry faster, I'm sure. I was going to come back in with some white gouache too. Let's see. I think I chose a pretty complicated scene, which is not unusual for me, actually. I tend to do that.
Can we simplify it a little bit? If
Oh,
you
sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with simplifying. What I might do, just to make it a little bit more interesting too, is to spatter in the texture of the stone, you know, in the foreground. Give it a little texture in the brick or the rock work. So I'm going to mix up some ultramarine blue and kind of a reddish brown. And I'm going to spatter a little bit in the foreground. But I'm going to also dab up the ones that are a little bit too not what I want. And I think that I could now use my pen on some of the brickwork in the foreground. I think that it's dry enough that I could do that. So
may I please ask you, to the right side, are they all geraniums or it's some sort of other flowers too?
well, I
Red
think
color.
there's petunias, the white ones up above. I haven't really used gouache to define them, But the geraniums down below, and then up above there's petunias. And there's another kind of a plant. I don't think it's a geranium on the lower right. I don't really know what it is. Maybe might be somebody else in the class who would know. But right now, I have my pen and I could go and I could start to define some places where I think I need to show the shapes of the leaves a little better. This is where you come. They're what?
Impatiens
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you might be
and
right.
fuchsias in the mid right.
Oh, I
maybe.
see. Okay. It looks like there are those little hanging down things. Yeah. Okay. I see places where I didn't put enough flowers too. Well, this could go on for a long time.
Well, mostly they're begonias on the right, mid right.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah,
All right. I just made blobs. I wasn't that careful.
I think blobs work.
So what I'm doing now is I'm just making the shapes of some of the stones in the foreground, but I'm leaving a lot of broken lines because I don't want to be too defining. It's like what it says in the book. You want to make a suggestion of something. You don't really need to delineate everything. You could do a little shading if you want to with your pen. There are places where you could actually do a little of that if you wanted to, like in here where there's some, it's darker in the doorway. If there are places where you feel like you got a little too solid with something, you can come back in and just add some line. Want to get darker with this kind of a lattice thing. But some of this is a little wet, but I don't care if it bleeds slightly. Now, the last thing is to come back in and really darken up some of the areas that you want to create a little bit more contrast, because this is the part that makes things really work, is where you do add those extra darks. And they can just be little points of darkness. They don't have to be a lot of area, just some slight darker area. Okay, I could keep going. I could get my gouache and I could try to put in a little bit more of the, first I got to darken this. I could put in some of the white flowers, because that's the last step, is at the very end. If you see places where you would like to make it lighter, you know, like some accents of white, you can come back in with your white gouache and do that. So, like right now, got my white gouache here. And there are these white flowers over here on the corner. I don't think that's going to show up real well because I don't have a lot of darks behind it, but I could put some in, like even in here if I wanted. Places where I might have a little bit of a darker background, just to give it a little more sparkle. Does anyone want to show us what they've done? I'm going to peel off my tape right now. It did tear a little bit, so I'm tearing away from my painting. So this is softer paper than Arches, but if you tear away from your painting, then it won't tear part of your painting at least. So sorry I didn't get to the other one, but I guess I'll have to learn that my eyes are bigger than my stomach when it comes to what I think I can accomplish. All right, so I'm going to go now to get back to where I can take a look at what you're doing, if there's anybody that wants to show their work.
Sylvia, are you taking roll call?
If you put your name in the chat, I don't have to.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping people will do. And I also took a screenshot, so I should be able to, I think I'll probably be able to figure it out.
Sylvia, I would be happy to show what I've done. I'm not happy with it. It's next to yours. Yours is beautiful, but I'll be happy to show it if you want me to.
I sure do. Hold on, I'm going to
Okay.
spotlight your video or spotlight you. So let me look for you here. Say something and then you'll pop up.
Something.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I think I did it. Did I spotlight your video?
No.
Oh.
You're not
Maybe if you stop the
centered.
screen share.
Oh yeah, I got to stop my screen share. That's
It's
why.
not centered.
There
Off
we
the
go.
side.
Oh, nice.
Back up a little.
There we go. There we
There.
go.
Nice.
Great colors.
Yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah, see, I think you did a better job of getting some stronger color on the wall. I kept
Oh.
trying, but that really helps to bring that wall forward. And the only thing I would suggest is trying to get a few brighter colored flowers on the right side.
Right, which is what I have I put some gouache on there so I can get everything got a little dark, but yeah.
Really nicely done, and your walkway is very simple, and so it doesn't take away from the rest of the illustration. So that's great.
Okay.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks.
And I got mine up, I think.
Okay, let me first I have to let's see if I can spotlight you. Let me see here. Wait, I have to go.
This is Mitzi, I should say that.
Oh, Mitzi, that's gorgeous.
Lovely.
Well, you know, I started trying to be really loose like the videos, and the first thing you know, I'm tightening up. The subject matter didn't really, you know,
lend itself.
be involved. Pardon?
It didn't lend itself to loosening up, right?
Yeah. Well, you can see where I was plopping in the paint and letting it bleed, and then, you know, it sort of came back in and had to undo that.
I think it's gorgeous.
Well, thank you. I'm fairly happy with it.
Good.
I keep wanting to loosen up more than I am. We've heard that
You're
for how long
that's
now?
pretty loose with Mitzi. I think it's gorgeous.
Okay, Mitzi, next time you have to draw with a stick.
Yeah, all right. Yes, the line weight is all the same. Hello. Is anybody else brave enough to show?
Okay,
I did something just the opposite.
let's see. I got to spotlight your video. Hold on a second. Sorry, I'm having some technical issues. Okay, hold on. I'm just about there. Oh, there's a thing that's covering up the spotlight video.
You know, we can pin her video.
Oh, there it is. Oh, cool.
Wow. Nice drawing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I did. I took my ruler and pencil, and then I figure I can get really loose with the watercolor later.
That's
Approach.
yeah, you'd be so tired of drawing straight. Great, thank you,
Very nice.
Linda.
Yeah, just don't let your drawing become so precious that you can't be loose. Because once you spend that much time on the drawing, it's hard to not just love the drawing. The drawing's beautiful.
It sounds like you're talking from experience.
Yes,
I think so.
Oh,
Gee,
Kathy is putting hers up. Let's see, let me show it.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
very pretty.
Nice, Kathy. Nice and
I like
cleanly
to walk
done.
away.
Yes.
Very nice.
I
You're-
think
I
you're
think you're
muted, Kathy.
muted.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, you're muted.
you unmute yourself.
Yeah. She doesn't have sound, I guess, or she can't do it. Okay, thank you, Kathy.
Well,
Okay,
I see you spell your name correctly, Kathy.
I'll show mine. Mine doesn't look like anybody's.
Ooh.
For you, that's what I wanted to do. I'm going to do that
Mine looks
for
like
next
pretty.
week.
But what I realize is I have two pens. One has waterproof ink and one has water soluble ink. And so I sort of got them mixed up a little bit and made a bit of a mess.
But it's so much fun.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
That's what makes it look great.
So it's sort of
Yeah.
messy, but you know, I have to work on varying line weight and stuff too.
Wow. Yeah,
Very
nice.
nice.
That was
You
my,
know,
that was my.
that might be a way to loosen up, is to use a water soluble pen too, and then it kind of creates that looser look.
Yeah, it's loose and messy. But it's sort of, but it was fun. It was really fun.
Good.
Okay.
Very nice. I can show mine. I'm Susan. And I had to cut off half of it because I didn't get perspective well.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, pretty.
So
It's
again,
really
I cut it off.
pretty.
It's very small, but anyways, fun. Fun,
Yeah.
fun, fun. Thank you, Sylvia.
You're
You're also
lovely.
inspiring. Thank you.
I love seeing your
I'll show
work.
mine.
Okay.
If you wanna, oops.
Wendy.
Wait, Wendy, okay, you're fading in and out.
Yeah, I've got to take my background off. Just a minute. Go ahead and do somebody else and I'll take this
No,
off.
I can see it now.
Now it's good.
Oh,
Whoops, there it
whoops.
goes.
There we go.
Nice.
I
Nice.
like your building color.
Yes.
Put your background.
Great colors in the building. And it really shows off the plants that way.
Yeah, there you are.
Mhm.
Yes.
Good. All I would say is just now with your pen, go back and delineate some of the shapes of the leaves in the foreground. And then that will
Okay.
bring them forward, and then the others will fade back into the distance. So really nice start.
Thank you. I have a question. This is the walls are darker than I wanted.
Okay.
And so how do you get them to be really pale or paler than this?
Well, one way, if the color you're using is not a staining color, you can dampen the color and then just blot it with a tissue.
Okay. That's what I did with the gray.
Yeah, and if it's
Okay.
a staining color, it won't lift, but if it's a non-staining color, it should.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show mine. This is Sarah, but I didn't get very far.
Oh, wow.
Good
Well, you
start.
got a great drawing.
Yeah.
So I'm trying here. I'm trying a real different technique and having fun with it.
Well, now I
Very
don't
nice.
feel so bad because you didn't get as far either, so that's good. But
I can't watch and paint at the same time. No longer two things. I can't multitask.
and I can't talk and paint at the same time.
Me neither.
And you have to realize that people are asking you questions while you're painting, and so your mind goes one way. So I think you're doing marvelously. It's
Well,
really
thank you. Donna Green, you're lower it a little bit and back up a little.
Oh, fine.
Okay,
Nice.
good.
That's
I
fun.
have a ways to go.
The greenery's
There
great.
you go.
Sweet.
I
And the
love
light.
what you're doing with the pathway. It really reads like it's vanishing into perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Thank you.
good
I have
atmospheric
a ways to
perspective.
go on it.
Yeah, just work more on the foreground foliage and add your flowers, and that'll bring that forward.
I have a lot of work left. Thank
Good
you.
start, though. Okay, Janet is holding hers up.
Okay, well, I'm off in a different world. I'm in a San Juan Island. And I have always loved this picture because it's something called English Camp, and it was originally a log cabin type thing, and then I think they built the top part as a fortress or for defense, because you see, I didn't use the other one. But it's absolutely totally different architecture, and it's just King Pompous on top of the original building. So
Wow.
I just like this. So I thought pen and ink, okay, I can do logs. But
Yes.
Where is that?
It's not loose, but that's okay. I don't need to be loose.
So are you going to put any kind of trees or foliage behind it?
Yeah, there's trees back up here, and I can't really show you the original picture, but if I post this, I'll post the original.
Okay.
Because there's a lake behind it, and then there's water. There's kind of some interesting reflections down at the bottom of the water.
Okay.
And trees in the background have some stuff, and it's also got this really rustic gate that goes up to it. That's kind of logs that are, different directions.
Where is this?
In the San Juan Islands. It's called English Camp.
Ah.
I think it was built in the late 1800s. But it was just such a weird thing because they just took a building and just put something cockeyed on top of it. The perspective is all kind of strange on it, but anyway, that's what I felt like doing with pen and
And
ink.
when you're finished with this wonderful drawing, you're just going to add a little bit of color?
I have no idea.
You'll see how the spirit moves you.
Yeah. And actually, it was a very gray day. So there's very little color in the original photo, but I'll post the original photo. But I thought of Dennis when I saw this, because no architect today would do that, I don't think.
Okay.
Thank you, Janet.
Yeah.
Janet.
Anyone else?
In the process, should I show or not?
Oh, of
It's
course.
Yes.
Of course. If I can share that, anybody can share anything.
You have to start your video, Yana.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I forgot.
Okay, let me
Hold it
start.
up. Whoop.
A little bit higher.
There.
Oh, what fun.
Nice. I love the flowers.
Oh, I love the pattern you're creating with the leaves and everything. Really nicely done.
Thank you. Again, too many details. Again, I tried to get away from details.
But that's not bad. So now, Yana, if you warm up the color of the walls, the stone walls in the foreground, then that's going to help to create that atmospheric perspective.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
I have a painting I finished yesterday from last week.
Okay.
Santula.
Back up.
Yeah,
Oh, that's beautiful.
lovely.
Look at that sky.
It's wonderful, and the mountains are just charming.
Thank you.
Like that.
Was
Wow.
fun.
Great colors.
And this is
Lovely.
one Yeah, Anthula, if you wanted to, you could use a pen and just add a little texture to the barn.
Oh,
If you felt like it, you know, just like, remember the last video we saw where she just took a brown pen and she did very minimal detail, but she came in like under the eaves and in a few different places. I think you could do that on this.
Okay, thank you.
Good, nicely done.
Spectacular clouds.
I'll show mine, but I can't pick it up because it's on a big.
Oh, okay, so what are we going to do then to see it?
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Wait a second. Okay, now I'm going to spotlight it. Okay.
Oh, lovely.
Wow.
Whoa.
Very cool.
I can't see.
Yeah, move over
There
a
you
little
go.
more that way. Oh, yeah.
Great colors.
It's Tongue River Canyon.
Oh, that's nice.
It really is.
Very
Lovely
fun.
colors.
Yeah, the drawing is perfect.
Thank
That's gonna
you.
make Sylvia homesick.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I really should go there because I have a rental that I'm trying to get rented out, but I don't want to go there because I talked to somebody and only 50% of the people are wearing masks.
Oh.
The locals are not wearing them. You know, it's just the people who come from out of state.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay. So anyone else? Okay, well, now keep in mind that you can post your work on VoiceThread between now and next week. Oh, are you going to show us some paint, Linda?
Oh, I was just thinking of Dennis. I was just putting this away. It's by Daniel Smith. This is the neutral tint.
Okay.
Oh, okay, good. I might order some.
You like it a lot, so I'll get some.
Okay, thanks, Linda.
Sure.
Okay, anything else? All right, everybody. Thank you for being here and keep painting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Sylvia.
you.
Class, Sylvia.
Bye.
Bye, Sylvia.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Take care of yourselves.
Bye, Donna.
Bye. Bye. Thank you for your help, Cheryl, as always.
Me?
Yeah. Your comments are greatly appreciated. And Dan is also very helpful too.
Cheryl, what are you working on, Cheryl?
I'm working on the poppies,
Can
the
you
red
show-
poppy picture. I had to start over because the paper had some kind of a weird rubbery texture on the side, one side of it. I'd painted on a lot of it. I had to start all over. It was maddening, but I can show you what I have so far if you'd like to see.
That must have been frustrating.
Yeah, very. It's
Oh,
a lot of
dear.
red. You can't really see the drawing, and it's kind of, there's a
Oh,
lot
I
of
can
buds
see.
at the bottom.
Beautiful.
Oh, you're really doing a great job with the color. What reds are you using?
I'm mixing quinacridone coral with some new gambos, and I also have some orange from Sennelier.
Okay.
A
I'm just
Sennelier orange.
I'm just now working on getting my palette set up for botanic illustration, and I'm going to include some of those colors like the quinacridone coral and some of those brighter colors, because for
Yeah, the
botanic,
orange, if you want a really perfect orange, I mean, using the quinacridone coral is very staining. But the Sennelier orange that I have is really nice orange, just out of the tube.
does
You
it
can
just say
mix-
orange or does it have a name?
Hold on a second. What did I do? Let me see. I think I have it in my bag. Hold on a minute.
Or you can tell us in the class on Thursday.
It's right here. It's called orange. Yeah, Sennelier orange.
Okay.
You know, it's it's made by yeah, Sennelier is the name of the company. number 641.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Is
welcome.
that-
That was a favorite color of a teacher years ago, Rose Margaret, that I had. She's passed away, but one of the first watercolor teachers I had, that was one of her favorite colors. So that's why I have it in my palette too.
Is it a non-staining color?
Is it staining? Let's see. I don't think it is as, you know, it doesn't say, it just says PO 23 or 73.
Okay.
And our friend Tim is not here, so he could probably say whether
Yeah.
it was stained or not. I don't have a book on the colors. I don't know if you do, but I don't think it's as staining as the quinacridone color,
Okay.
to be honest.
All right.
Do you know about the handprint website?
Do I know about what?
Handprint?
No.
The
Is that
website Handprint? I think it's called Handprint.
Yes,
It
actually, that's funny that you say that, because I just am sharing that in the botanic class on Thursday. I just discovered it.
Oh,
yeah, it's really
okay.
informative. I mean, I don't always refer to it because I haven't been buying paint in a while because I just have a bunch of stuff. But at some point, I'm gonna try and get some new colors, and I'll definitely research them on Handprint first.
Okay. Well, I like this orange personally. So, and quinacridone coral is one of Kathy Quill. I'm trying to think of her last name. Kathy Quill. That was one of her colors she loves, is the quinacridone coral. So that's it is a beautiful color.
Sorry about the noise. Thank you, Sylvia. I got to go to my other class now.
Okay.
Thanks for the great class.
Have a good week. Bye, everybody.
Sylvia, wait, I wanted to ask you about your daughter. Is she
Okay.
doing okay? Is she doing
Yeah.
okay in